Many Americans don't believe that real Indians exist anymore. Many others believe that they still live in teepees, ride horses, and only wear ceremonial clothing. They ask, "How Indian are you?" and say, "You must be full-blooded to be authentic tribal members."
They kind of won't believe me because I'm not really like the Indian color and I don't have black hair.
You get comments that would be considered insensitive if they were said to people of any other ethnicity, such as, "That's funny, you don't look Indian," or "How much Indian are you?"
I was applying for jobs. I went to interview, and I guess I must have sounded like I was white. And when I got there, looking at the interviewer, I guess they figured, no, that's not the right one, not the right person.
People come up to me and they say, "Are you really Indian?" And I say, "Of course, I'm Chickahominy." They're just used to those big tribes, so they don't think I'm a real Indian because they've never heard of Chickahominy before.
In 2009, there were 4,000 state-recognized Virginia Indians, and the census figures show another 20,000 people of American Indian ancestry living across Virginia.
It's not uncommon for the person to say, "I didn't know there were any Indians left in Virginia."
We're still here.
We're still here.
We're here today. We're not going anywhere.
There are currently 8 state-recognized Virginia Indian nations, including the Chickahominy, the Eastern Chickahominy, the Mattaponi, the Monacan, the Nansemond, the Pamunkey, the Rappahannock, and the Upper Mattaponi. The Pamunkey and the Mattaponi Indian nations had small reservations in King William County that date from the 1600s.
We knew that that land was our identity to help us hold on to who we were. And our forefathers told us, and they tell us to this day, whoever you do not let go of this land. And we do not.
In Virginia, when you lost your reservation, you ceased to be an Indian. You could be an Indian on a census in 1800, and by 1810, when there's no reservation, you became a mulatto.
Despite the nation and area from which individuals receive their heritage, more broadly, they have been labeled Native Americans. But members in Virginia typically prefer American Indians, or more specifically, Virginia Indians.
The way I was raised, to be proud of what I am, no matter what people call you. You know, you can't be mad at the ignorance of some people. It's better to be able to teach someone than to be mad at them calling you the wrong thing.
Our history have been left out of the telling of it. And so it's the interpretation of our cultures, what actually happened to our people, that's so compelling, that people really haven't heard about. And when people in Virginia hear our side of the story, they find it very interesting because it was never presented to them in school.
But even seclusion could not protect the Virginia Indians from the threat of extinction. After the American colonies became the United States, the Virginia Indians began to lose more than their lives and their land. They began to lose their identities.
Thomas Jefferson wrote, when he was in office, "Your blood will mix with our blood. Your ways will mix with our ways." Essentially, you will become Christian like us, you will farm like us, you will speak like us, and we will breed you out until you are gone.
The Virginia Indians would face the effects of becoming Americanized for the next 200 years. They overcame all of these forms of genocide, but nothing could prepare them for the laws that were to come.
We stood up and we said, we're not black, we're not white, we're Indian, and that's who we want, that's who we are, and that's who we're going to claim to be.
It was unlawful for an Indian person to marry a white person.
And it was a felony to claim to be Indian in the state of Virginia.
The purpose of this law was to eliminate Virginia Indians by denying them an identity. By reclassifying them as colored on paper, they would simply cease to exist as an individual community.
It is paper genocide. I still exist.
What is probably more horrifying is that people today don't even recognize that that law existed, and that it existed until 1968. It really just amazes me, and it strikes me as a low point of our society when we fail to recognize that these laws existed.
The Virginia Indians, reclaiming our heritage. Coming to cable and PBS stations in 2010.